The stars were quiet that night, but there was a tension in the darkness that even the oldest astronomers had never seen. On the planet Viridian, the Council of Elders watched the swirling galaxies on their vast observation decks. They had ruled the outer rim of the universe for centuries, their minds sharp, their technology unmatched. And yet, they were nervous. A signal had been detected from a small, blue planet in a minor galaxy, Earth. The signal was strange, almost primitive, but it carried something the elders had never felt before. Curiosity, persistence, and above all, defiance. The elders whispered among themselves, their voices tinged with disbelief. "It's only humans," one said. "They cannot possibly understand the universe. They cannot challenge us." But the signal kept coming, day after day, showing intelligence, ingenuity, and unexpected determination. The elders decided to send an observer, a scout ship, silent and invisible, to watch these humans closely. They named it Vera. Its mission was simple: learn about humanity, catalog their weaknesses, and report back. On Earth, in a quiet laboratory hidden under the forests of North America, Dr. Elena Morris stared at her screen, unaware of the eyes watching her from light years away. She had been working on a project that could change the course of human history, a device capable of communicating beyond the solar system. The device hummed softly, and for the first time, it picked up a reply. A response not from another human, not from a machine, but something intelligent, something ancient. Elena's heart raced. She had expected interference from satellites or cosmic noise, but this was different. The pattern was deliberate, almost like it was studying her, learning from her. She showed it to her colleague, Dr. Rajan, who laughed nervously. "Elena, maybe we've finally gone mad. Or maybe someone's playing a very advanced prank on us." But the signals intensified. They were no longer random bursts of energy. They formed sequences, messages, almost words. Humans could not understand them fully yet, but there was a sense that the messages carried knowledge beyond Earth's science. Something about them felt alive. Meanwhile, on Vera, the scout ship, the elders monitored the humans closely. They had underestimated humans before, thinking their technology primitive, their minds limited. Yet here was a species that, in a few generations, had built machines capable of reaching the stars. The elders exchanged worried glances. They whispered of the past, of civilizations destroyed because they had underestimated the weak, the small, the unexpected. And they remembered one rule above all: never ignore curiosity. Back on Earth, Elena's lab suddenly went dark. The hum of machines stopped, screens flickered, and for a terrifying moment, silence enveloped her. Then, in the dim glow of emergency lights, a new signal appeared on the screen. This time, it was not only intelligence, it was emotion. The message seemed to laugh, to warn, to challenge, all at once. Elena froze. She had stumbled onto something humanity was not ready for. Something that had been watching her kind for millennia. The humans on Earth were completely unaware that the elders were debating their fate, discussing if this species should be studied, contained, or destroyed. They were arrogant, believing no small planet could ever matter in the grand scheme of the universe. They did not know that history had a habit of punishing such arrogance. Elena and Rajan worked tirelessly, unaware of the observer above them, piecing together the strange signals. Each day brought new discoveries, new patterns that hinted at technology, at knowledge, at power beyond human imagination. And each day, Vera recorded every move, every thought, every breakthrough, sending it back to the elders with meticulous detail. The elders, confident in their judgment, still underestimated humans. They believed that these fragile beings, with their emotions, mistakes, and unpredictability, could never survive the challenges of the cosmos. But as they watched, they began to see cracks in their own certainty. Humans, they realized with growing unease, had something no civilization in their history had possessed: relentless adaptability. On Earth, Elena finally cracked a sequence that revealed a star map, coordinates that pointed to regions far beyond human exploration. Her hands shook. The map was ancient, but the knowledge embedded in it was unmistakable. Whoever, or whatever, had sent these messages was inviting humanity into the galaxy, into a stage where no human had ever stood. And somewhere above them, Vera shifted slightly, its sensors focusing on Elena. The elders had made a decision. They would act cautiously, observing a little longer, confident that humans could not possibly change the balance of power. But the first seeds of doubt had been planted. For the first time, the elders felt something they had never experienced before: fear. The universe had made a mistake. It had underestimated humans. And this small mistake, unnoticed by almost everyone, would soon become the spark that ignited a war the elders had never seen coming. Elena could not sleep that night. The star map burned in her mind like a living thing, twisting her thoughts into questions she had no answers for. Who had sent it? Why now? And most importantly, what did it want from humans? She stared at the glowing map on her screen, tracing the lines of constellations she had never even heard of. Somewhere, deep in the uncharted cosmos, there were places humans had never imagined, and now she held the key. Rajan paced the lab, trying to hide his unease. Elena, maybe we should stop. We don't know what we're dealing with. What if this thing is dangerous? Elena shook her head. Dangerous? Rajan, the moment we stop thinking is the moment we die. We can't ignore it. This is bigger than us. Bigger than anything we've ever faced. Outside, the night was quiet, but the silence carried a sense of something watching. Elena had the strange feeling that eyes, millions of them, were following her every move. And in a way, they were. Vera, the scout ship, drifted silently above the atmosphere, its sensors studying every reaction, every heartbeat, every discovery. The elders were still in debate, their confidence wavering. They could see humanity's potential, and it scared them. No species had ever combined such creativity with reckless bravery. They had never faced a civilization so small yet so unpredictable. Perhaps we should intervene, one elder whispered. Before they stumble onto knowledge they cannot control. Another elder's voice, cold and sharp, answered. And do what? Erase them? We have already watched too long. Curiosity is part of their nature. Stopping it will only ignite resistance. Back on Earth, Elena and Rajan began to decode the first message hidden within the star map. It was a series of coordinates, but also a set of instructions, tools, equations, and ideas that felt impossible. It was as if the sender was teaching them how to reach beyond the limits of human science. Every time they decoded a piece, the lab seemed to hum with a strange energy, as if the universe itself was acknowledging their progress. Then, the first anomaly appeared. Equipment began to glitch unpredictably. Screens flickered with images that made no sense, shadows moved where there should have been none, and sometimes, Elena thought she heard whispers echoing from the walls. She tried to ignore it, attributing it to exhaustion, but Rajan noticed too. Elena, this isn't normal. Something is here. Something not human. Above them, Vera detected the anomaly. It had never seen a species respond to external influence like this. Humans were unpredictable. Sometimes afraid, sometimes fearless, often unaware of the danger, but always moving forward. And the scout ship's AI recorded every moment, sending it back to the elders. As the days passed, the humans' progress accelerated. They created a device capable of amplifying the star map's signal. With trembling hands, Elena activated it. The lab filled with a strange resonance, a hum that seemed to reach deep into her mind. Patterns formed on the screen, stars aligning, constellations shifting, symbols that felt alive. And then came the first contact. Not a voice, not an image, but a presence. Something intelligent, something ancient, and undeniably aware of them. Elena froze. Rajan stared at her, pale. The lab seemed to shrink, the air thickening as the presence grew stronger. For the first time, humanity had touched the edge of something far older and far more powerful than themselves. The elders watched from light years away, their unease growing into something more tangible, fear. They had underestimated humans. That simple mistake, made so long ago, now threatened to spiral into chaos. The scout ship sensors could not predict the humans' next move. Every attempt to manipulate them failed. Humans adapted. They improvised. They survived. And they had only just begun. Elena whispered, almost to herself. "Who are you?" The answer did not come in words, but in understanding. A flood of information, a glimpse into the vastness of space, the history of civilizations, and the secrets of energy and matter. It was overwhelming. Rajan fell to his knees, stunned, unable to comprehend even a fraction of what they were seeing. Above them, Vera recorded everything. The elders debated whether to intervene. One elder said, "If we act now, we can control them." Another replied, "Control is an illusion. The humans are already beyond our influence. We only observe." And then, the unthinkable happened. The device in the lab emitted a sudden pulse, a burst of energy that shot into the sky, reaching far beyond Earth, far beyond the solar system. Vera registered the pulse, but it could not predict what came next. Elena and Rajan watched in awe and fear. Somewhere, deep in the void, something had responded. A presence larger than any star, older than any galaxy, and infinitely intelligent had noticed them. And the humans did not even know it yet, but the universe's biggest mistake, the decision to underestimate them, was about to be tested. The night sky above Earth glimmered with stars, but something in the darkness had changed. Elena and Rajan could feel it, a subtle vibration that seemed to echo in their bones. The pulse from their device had sent ripples across the void, and the response was coming, slow, deliberate, and overwhelming. 4 days, nothing visible appeared. But small anomalies began. Satellites shifted slightly in orbit. Unexplained energy bursts flickered across the globe. Animals acted strangely, and electromagnetic signals danced in patterns no human had ever seen. Elena's lab became a hub of impossible phenomena, as if reality itself were bending to something beyond comprehension. Rajan rubbed his eyes. "Elena, we can't explain any of this. Machines are breaking, satellites are reporting errors, and I think someone, or something, is watching us closely." Elena didn't respond. She was staring at the star map again, where new constellations had formed, lines connecting stars in shapes that seemed intentional, almost alive. It was as if the universe itself were trying to communicate directly with them. Above Earth, Vera drifted silently. The scout ship sensors recorded everything, but the readings were confusing even to the elders. The humans were not only responding to external stimuli, they were actively reshaping their environment, learning, adapting, and experimenting in ways the elders had never expected. One elder shook their head. "This is not evolution. It's something else. Something faster." The humans had crossed a threshold. The device they had activated began to generate localized energy fields, small distortions in space that bent light and altered gravity for mere seconds. Elena's hands trembled as she realized the potential. "We've opened a door," she whispered. "And I'm not sure if we can close it." The next day, the first message arrived, direct, undeniable. A projection formed in the lab, a being of light, shimmering and shifting, unlike anything the human mind could fully grasp. It did not speak in words, but thoughts flowed into Elena's mind like waves. Knowledge, warnings, possibilities, all at once. "You are ready," the presence said, not with sound but with understanding. Rajan staggered back, clutching his head. I can't comprehend it," he muttered. Elena felt a mixture of awe and fear. Ready for what? She thought, sending the question as clearly as she could. "For the challenge. For the test," the presence answered. "You are underestimated. The universe has made a mistake with your kind. Few civilizations are ever given such a chance. Many fail. But you." The words carried weight, as if the cosmos itself were acknowledging humanity's potential. Elena's heart pounded. "Test. Challenge," she thought. "Yes," the presence replied. "You must prove your worth. Others will come. They have watched, they have judged. They believe you are weak. But you may surprise them. Elena's mind raced. Others? Who? The presence paused, its form rippling like liquid light. Watchers. Guardians. Predators. Some will aid you. Some will seek to end you. But all will underestimate humans. And that is the universe's greatest mistake. Meanwhile, Vera's sensors picked up a new signal, a fleet approaching from a distant galaxy. Ships of unknown design, their energy signatures terrifyingly advanced. The Elders' Council erupted into chaos. Humans are attracting attention, one elder shouted. Our calculations were wrong. Their actions are unpredictable. Elena and Rajan had no idea that the beings observing them were debating the fate of humanity. They only knew that their discovery had changed everything. Earth was no longer isolated. The pulse had drawn eyes across the stars, some curious, some hostile, all powerful. And the humans themselves were beginning to understand a truth that had been hidden until now. Survival in the cosmos was not about strength or numbers. It was about ingenuity, courage, and the unyielding drive to adapt. Elena clenched her fists. If they think we're weak, she said to Rajan, her voice steady despite the fear, then they haven't met humans yet. Above them, Vera recorded everything. The elders could only watch in disbelief as humanity crossed a line no one had expected them to reach. And somewhere, beyond the edges of known space, the first of the watchers were moving closer, curious about the small species that had dared to touch the stars. The universe had made a mistake. And it was about to pay the price. The sky over Earth remained peaceful, almost ordinary, but Elena and Rajan knew better. The pulse they had sent into space had awakened eyes far beyond their comprehension. The presence of light, the being that had communicated with Elena, remained in the lab, calm but powerful, its glow casting shifting patterns across the walls. They're coming, Elena said quietly. Rajan nodded. Fear etched into his features. I can feel it. Ships. Massive ships, approaching us. Outside the atmosphere, Vera hovered silently, scanning for any trace of the approaching fleet. Its sensors detected massive energy signatures moving faster than anything known to human science. The elders, watching from light years away, were panicked. Calculations failed. Predictions faltered. Humanity's actions had disrupted the balance the elders had carefully maintained for eons. Elena turned to the presence of light. What are they? Are they enemies? The being's form shimmered, almost like liquid fire. Some are hostile. Some are watchers. They do not understand your kind yet. You will need to prove yourselves, your courage, your intellect, your will to survive. Rajan swallowed hard. We're just humans. How do we even fight them? Fight? The presence thought into their minds. This is not war in the way you know. It is a test. A challenge. Survival is not measured by weapons alone. Elena's mind raced. She thought of the devices in her lab, the knowledge hidden in the star map, the lessons whispered to her by the cosmic presence. Humans had always adapted, always survived against impossible odds. And now, the universe itself seemed to be giving them a chance to prove that again. As night deepened, the first signals from the approaching fleet reached Earth. They were precise, intimidating, messages coded in ways humans could barely comprehend. And then, a display appeared in the sky. Enormous ships, glowing with energy that defied known physics, hovering silently above the planet's surface. Panic erupted among the population. Governments scrambled, militaries mobilized, but conventional weapons were useless. Missiles fizzled before reaching the ships. Radar and satellites reported impossible readings. Humanity realized, almost simultaneously, that this was beyond anything they had ever faced. Elena and Rajan, however, were focused. We need to communicate, Elena said. If they're here because of us, maybe they're watching. Maybe they'll respond. The being of light pulsed in response. You must show them intelligence, understanding, the courage to act without fear. Following the guidance of the cosmic presence, Elena adjusted the device in her lab. She sent a pulse of energy toward the largest ship, not as an attack, but as a signal, a pattern of logic and reason, a message demonstrating humanity's intellect. The response was immediate. A beam of energy struck near the lab, shaking the ground but not harming anyone. The fleet's movement changed. Their patterns were no longer random. They were analyzing, responding. Rajan looked at Elena in disbelief. Did we just communicate with them? Yes, she whispered. We showed them we're thinking, that we're aware. But the being of light warned them. This is only the beginning. They will test you. They will try to break you. Only if you remain steadfast, only if you remain human, will you survive. Meanwhile, Vera recorded every moment. The elders' fear deepened. Their centuries of control, their calculations of what any species could achieve, were crumbling. They adapt faster than any model predicts, one elder said, voice trembling. Their potential. It is impossible. The night stretched on, and humanity held its ground, not with weapons, but with ingenuity and courage. The ships above did not attack. Instead, they observed, probed, and analyzed. Elena and Rajan realized the truth. The universe's greatest mistake was not that humans were weak, it was that they were underestimated. And then came the first real test. A section of the largest ship opened, revealing a probe, a mechanical entity unlike anything Earth had seen. It hovered above the lab, scanning. Lights flashed. Energy rippled through the air. Elena held her breath. The probe was testing them, trying to measure human response, human ingenuity. Think, Elena, the presence whispered. Show them who you are. Show them why you survive. Elena's mind raced. She recalled everything she had learned from the star map, from the cosmic presence. She reprogrammed the lab device to respond dynamically. An adaptive signal, not just code, but a display of intelligence, problem-solving, creativity. The probe paused, lights flickering as it absorbed the information. Then, slowly, it withdrew, sending a signal back to the fleet. Above, the ships shifted slightly, almost as if acknowledging humanity's response. Below, Elena and Rajan collapsed, exhausted but alive. Humanity had passed the first test. But the being of light's warning remained clear. The true challenges had only just begun. Somewhere, in the silent void of space, the Watchers were taking note. Humanity had crossed the line from weaklings to potential players. And the universe, which had once made the mistake of underestimating them, would soon learn just how dangerous that mistake could be. The sky over Earth no longer looked the same. Even the stars seemed distant, overshadowed by the silent giants hovering above. Elena and Rajan worked tirelessly in the lab, adjusting the device that had first sent a pulse into space. Every calculation, every test, every modification mattered now more than ever. Humanity had passed the first test, but the cosmic presence had warned them. The real challenge was coming. The fleet above remained in observation mode for a few days, but then subtle changes began. Satellites detected energy spikes that moved toward populated areas. Communication systems intermittently failed. And, most worrying of all, small drones, shapes too precise and fast for human engineering, began scanning the cities, mapping everything with cold efficiency. Elena stared at the readings. They're studying us. Testing us again. They're not satisfied. Rajan ran his hands through his hair. This is getting dangerous. What if this test goes too far? The presence of light hovered, calm but intense. Danger is necessary. You are not just surviving. You are proving your worth. Remember, survival is not about avoiding danger, it is about facing it with courage and intelligence. Suddenly, alarms rang across the lab. The largest ship above Earth emitted a pulse, a targeted wave of energy that disrupted the planet's magnetic field. Lights flickered across continents, and the air shimmered with electricity. The fleet was initiating the first direct confrontation. Elena and Rajan exchanged a look of fear and determination. We can't hide, Elena said. We have to respond. Guided by the cosmic presence, Elena activated the lab device, not as a weapon, but as a shield and signal combined. It generated a field that absorbed the energy waves and transmitted a pattern back. An intelligent response, showing both awareness and adaptability. The pulse hit the field, fractured, and returned toward the fleet as an organized, controlled signal. The probe hovering above the lab paused, scanning, analyzing. Then, for the first time, it emitted a visible reaction, a flash of light that seemed almost like curiosity. Elena realized that the fleet was testing not strength but intelligence, observing if humans could adapt under pressure. But the test escalated. Another wave hit, stronger and faster. Cities experienced blackouts. Electrical grids fluctuated. Panic spread worldwide. Humanity was forced to confront its vulnerability. Governments scrambled, soldiers and engineers coordinated emergency responses, but conventional tactics failed. Only ingenuity, quick thinking, and coordination mattered now. Elena and Rajan worked together, refining the device in real time. They synchronized it with power grids, creating a city-wide network that could dynamically adapt to the fleet's attacks. Every energy pulse became a learning opportunity. Every failure, a lesson. Humans were beginning to understand the patterns of the fleet, its logic, its methods, its weaknesses. Above, Vera recorded everything. The elders, once confident in their control, now panicked. They adapt faster than any simulation, one said, voice trembling. They are learning and evolving in real time. Our centuries of oversight may be our undoing. Elena glanced at Rajan, sweat on her brow, eyes burning with determination. We're not just surviving, she said. We're teaching them that humans aren't easy to break. The cosmic presence shimmered in response, almost smiling. Exactly. That is what the universe has never understood. The strength of humans is not in weapons or numbers, it is in their adaptability, creativity, and courage. The fleet pulsed once more, but this time, the energy bounced harmlessly against the device network. The probes analyzed, emitted signals of their own, and then retreated slightly. The first direct confrontation had ended without mass destruction. Humanity had survived, and in doing so, had demonstrated a spark the fleet had not anticipated. But the cosmic presence warned them gently, "You have passed this trial. But the Watchers are not done. Their observation will intensify. The true challenge lies ahead, where intellect, courage, and unity will be tested against forces that do not forgive weakness." As Elena and Rajan collapsed in exhaustion, the night sky above them seemed quieter. The fleet hovered, watching, calculating. Humans had survived, adapted, and even impressed the observers. But the universe was vast, and what lay beyond the fleet was still unknown. Somewhere, across the infinite void, the elders realized their mistake had grown. Underestimating humans was no longer a minor oversight. It was a cosmic error that could have consequences the universe had never anticipated. And on Earth, two humans, exhausted but unbroken, stared at the sky, realizing that they had not only survived, they had made their mark on the universe. The days that followed were tense. Humanity had survived the first confrontation, but the fleet above Earth did not retreat. They lingered, watching, analyzing, learning. Elena and Rajan barely slept, consumed with understanding the signals, the patterns, and the strange guidance from the cosmic presence. "This isn't just a test of survival anymore," Rajan said, rubbing his eyes. "They're trying to understand us, measure us, see what humans are capable of." Elena nodded. "And we're going to show them. Not with weapons, but with our minds, our creativity. That's what makes us human." The presence pulsed brighter than ever in the lab. "The next phase begins tonight," it said. "This will not be easy. You must prove that your species can adapt under extreme pressure. Your ingenuity will be tested against forces beyond comprehension." As darkness fell, the fleet initiated the challenge. Massive beams of energy struck multiple points across the planet, not to destroy, but to force adaptation. Cities experienced controlled blackouts. Bridges and transport systems were targeted with pulses that disrupted navigation. Power grids fluctuated unpredictably. Humanity was forced to think, react, and solve in real time, or risk collapse. Elena and Rajan immediately activated the lab's networked device system. It projected a web of adaptive energy shields, rerouted signals, and generated predictive algorithms to anticipate the fleet's next moves. The system was not perfect, but it bought humanity time, allowing emergency services to stabilize critical infrastructure. Outside the lab, chaos unfolded. Humans everywhere, engineers, scientists, ordinary citizens, worked together. Improvisation and quick thinking became the new weapons. People redirected power manually, repaired machines on the fly, and used creative solutions to counter energy pulses. Humanity's ingenuity became visible on a massive scale, a symphony of coordinated action against impossible odds. Vera, the silent observer above, recorded every action. The elders, monitoring from afar, were increasingly alarmed. "Our predictions were flawed," one elder admitted, voice trembling. "They respond to threats faster than any model we have. Their adaptability, it is unprecedented." The fleet's probes hovered closer, analyzing, trying to learn how humans think. The cosmic presence guided Elena. "Do not fear the test," it whispered. "Do not fight blindly. Show them intelligence, creativity, and courage. That is your true strength." Then came the critical moment. The fleet projected a massive energy dome around a city, a trap. Any misstep would result in catastrophic failure. The humans inside had minutes to act. Panic rippled, but Elena focused. She coordinated the lab device to project adaptive signals directly into the dome, creating patterns the fleet had not anticipated. Inside the city, human engineers interpreted the signals, rewiring power grids, redirecting energy flows, and improvising solutions that even the fleet's probes had difficulty predicting. The dome flickered, wavered, and finally collapsed safely. Humanity had passed the second, far more dangerous trial. Above, the fleet pulsed once, almost like an acknowledgement. Vera recorded it all. The elders whispered urgently among themselves. "They survive because they are unpredictable. They are clever. They are something we cannot control." Elena and Rajan, exhausted but determined, watched the sky. The cosmic presence hovered, glowing softly. "You have passed this trial," it said. "But the final test is coming. It will not only measure your intellect and courage, it will challenge the very nature of humanity itself." For a moment, silence filled the lab. The enormity of what they were facing settled in. This was no longer a simple observation or isolated test. Humanity had become a player on a galactic stage, where failure could mean extinction and success could change the balance of power in the universe. Rajan shook his head, exhausted. "How can we prepare for something like that?" Elena looked at him, eyes burning with resolve. "We don't prepare by hiding. We prepare by being ourselves. By using our minds, our courage, and our will to survive. That's what makes humans dangerous. That's what they underestimated." The fleet above shifted, waiting, observing, calculating the next move. Humanity had survived another test, but the final challenge loomed. A test that could determine not only the fate of Earth but of all humans across the galaxy. Somewhere, in the silent void, the elders realized the truth. They had made the universe's biggest mistake. Humans were not weak. They were unpredictable, relentless, and brilliant. And now, that mistake was about to force a reckoning the universe had never imagined. The night sky shimmered with energy, tension, and possibility. Humanity had survived. Humanity had adapted. And humanity was ready for the final test. The sky above Earth burned with energy, but the humans below were no longer afraid. Elena and Rajan, along with scientists, engineers, and ordinary citizens, had prepared for this moment. The final test had begun, and every human heart beat with determination, ingenuity, and courage. The fleet descended closer than ever before. Massive ships cast shadows over continents. Energy pulses danced across the atmosphere, testing humanity's defenses, probing their cities, and measuring reactions. The challenge was unlike anything they had faced, a simulation of impossible odds, where every move could mean survival or annihilation. Elena stood in the lab, her fingers flying across controls. The cosmic presence pulsed beside her, brighter than ever. "This is it," it whispered into her mind. "The test that will define your species. Show them who humans truly are." Rajan adjusted the device network. "All of Earth is connected," he said, almost in disbelief. "Every system, every city, every human action is linked. We're ready." The fleet unleashed waves of energy targeting strategic locations, power plants, communication networks, and transport hubs. Humans responded with unprecedented coordination. Engineers rerouted grids, pilots navigated without instruments, and citizens improvised solutions on the fly. Every human action was precise, creative, and fearless. Above, Vera recorded it all. The elders were horrified. Their centuries of control and calculations had predicted failure, but humanity refused to conform to expectations. One elder whispered, trembling, "They are unpredictable. Their adaptability. It defies everything we know. This is not evolution, it is something else." Then, the largest ship projected a massive holographic interface in orbit, attempting to communicate logic challenges, puzzles, and tests at scales humans had never seen. Each test combined physics, mathematics, and strategy beyond known science. Elena's mind raced, connecting every clue, every pattern. Rajan and the team followed her guidance, solving problems, countering simulations, and using the star map's ancient knowledge. They adapted faster than the fleet expected, combining intellect with intuition, reasoning with courage. The cosmic presence pulsed rapidly. "You are proving what few species ever can," it said. "The universe underestimated you. But you are showing it that humans survive, adapt, and excel where others fail." Hours passed like minutes. The fleet escalated, attempting more complex challenges. Cities became testing grounds for intellect and coordination. Humanity met each obstacle with creativity, innovation, and unwavering courage. And then came the final moment. The largest ship deployed a concentrated energy field, a wave designed to overwhelm Earth's defenses completely. It was meant to test not only human skill but human spirit, the ultimate trial. Elena activated the network at maximum capacity, but it alone could not hold. "We have to act together," she shouted. Humans across Earth synchronized efforts, connecting devices, machines, and energy sources in a global feedback loop. The network absorbed the energy, converted it, and sent it back in a pattern of logic, beauty, and complexity the fleet had never encountered. The energy wave shattered harmlessly against the device network. The ships paused, the probes analyzed, and finally, the fleet retreated slightly, as if acknowledging defeat. Humanity had passed the final test. The cosmic presence shone brightly. "You have proven yourselves. The universe's greatest mistake, the belief that humans are weak, has been corrected. You are worthy. You are capable. You are strong." Across space, Vera recorded every reaction. The elders could only stare in disbelief. "They survived everything," one said. "They exceeded every expectation. How is this possible?" Elena and Rajan looked at the night sky, exhausted but exhilarated. The fleet had not destroyed Earth. They had tested humanity, and humanity had risen above every challenge. The presence whispered one final thought. "Now the universe knows. You are not to be underestimated. Every corner of the galaxy that has ever doubted humans will reconsider. This is only the beginning." Humanity had survived, adapted, and triumphed, not with brute force, not with weapons, but with creativity, courage, and intelligence. They had faced the impossible and proven that being human meant defying odds, surpassing expectation, and thriving where others had failed. Somewhere beyond the stars, the elders plotted their next moves, But one truth remained undeniable. The universe had made a mistake by underestimating humans. And that mistake would echo across galaxies, reshaping the cosmic order forever. Elena and Rajan turned to each other, smiling through exhaustion. "We did it," Rajan said softly. "No," Elena replied, eyes shining. "We all did it. Humanity did it." And above, the stars shimmered, as if applauding the small species that had dared to touch the infinite, and had changed the universe forever.